If you've ever watched a motivational video before, then you've probably come across this man, and you might not know his face, but I'm sure that you've read his book. This is Dale Carnegie, author of How to Win Friends and Influence People, and he is considered by many people to be one of the pioneers of the industry now known as self-help. It started out simple. Books, seminars, the American dream packaged into digestible wisdom, but then the internet changed everything. Suddenly, anyone could be a guru, anyone could build a following, anyone could sell the secret to success. What began as practical advice transformed into an endless stream of
hustle.
Have 4 jobs. Wendy's, Walmart, your side hustle.
You're right. Or just resign yourself to being a worthless piece of shit.
As someone who was once considered a self-help YouTuber, and probably still is depending on who you ask, I feel like I can provide a unique insider perspective to what's happened. There's a lot more to this industry than what's on the surface, and it's about time that people start to wake up to the truth. This is the story of how a $40 billion industry built on self-help became a battleground for money, attention, and power, and how a new cultural shift emerging could help restore self-improvement back to what it was always meant to be. To understand where we're going, we need to understand how we got here, and it starts with a simple question. How did we go from sharing wisdom to selling dreams? The idea of improving oneself has been around since humans have had the ability to form self-conscious thoughts. Religious teachers and philosophers shared their wisdom through texts that would be passed down from generation to generation, using both mythical and real stories to convey their lessons. There was no real word for self-improvement, but rather a set of morals and ideals one could live by that was typically associated with a religion or philosophy. And although there were definitely some people who were trying to use their words to manipulate the general public and amass power, most of these teachers were genuinely just trying to help people. Thousands of years later, as urbanization and secularism spread, the need for a way to present these lessons without them being tied to any pious practice started to increase, and so the first era of motivational content began, the analog era. Books like Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill and the aforementioned How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie established a new category of education that schools were leaving out. Using lessons tied to real-life stories that anyone could pick up and understand, you could learn the secrets that were only reserved for the most successful people on Earth. Before the digital age, there wasn't really any ability to question the validity of these sources. And after all, compared to religious texts that might be riddled with inaccuracy and misinformation, these guys were drawing wisdom from people in places that were fully relevant to the 1900s. These books were released during a time of turmoil in America, the Great Depression, and as a result, they exploded in popularity. Though it's not known what the exact amount of copies sold are, Think and Grow Rich is estimated to have sold millions of copies shortly after it was released, and How to Win Friends and Influence People also experienced huge success, having sold 70,000 copies in the first 3 weeks and 250,000 copies in the first 3 months. Through the wild success of the earliest self-help books, a theme became clear. When people are going through times of struggle, they are willing to pay good money for almost any information that will get them out of their pain and suffering, even if that information is overflowing with false promises. By the 1970s, motivational seminars started popping up around America. Self-made millionaires like Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar, and Wayne Dyer, author of The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, were delivering speeches about success, friendship, wealth, positive thinking, and never giving up, like a set of religious texts repackaged and distilled into a bumper sticker.
They're in complete denial. They think denial is just a river in Egypt.
These seminars were usually reasonably priced, costing anywhere from $50 to a few $100 depending on the size and location of the event. And the testimonials from those who attended them were overwhelmingly positive. Then, when the TV was created, motivational content was no longer reserved for people who attended in real life. Infomercials like the ones from famous self-help coach Tony Robbins began popping up, and motivational CDs you could play in your car made self-improvement more accessible to the average person. It was the dawn of a new era of information consumption. You could get the answer to all of life's biggest problems from a man whom you've never even known. In this way, self-help was becoming the new religion, and that religion was about to spread to the most influential invention the world had ever seen. The early days of the internet were a sandbox for experimentation. Nobody knew exactly what the evolution of businesses would look like. They just knew most of them would have to eventually transition to this online world. The democratization of content through this online landscape now allowed anyone with an internet connection to reach a large amount of people if they knew how to use the sites available to them. And this is when self-improvement really started to reach the masses. The earliest days of self-help content on the internet usually came in the form of blogs. Websites like Zen Habits, created by Leo Babauta, focused on minimalism and simplicity, and Steve Pavlina's blog, which covered general topics like personal growth and productivity. Regardless of what they posted, the vibe of the blogs remained pretty similar. It was simply just people who enjoyed writing, sharing stories and experiences from their life and what they learned from them. Total innocence, and in fact one could argue that this era was more innocent than the pre-internet days of seminars and motivational speeches, probably because the internet was in its infancy. But that innocence was about to change. Once people started getting comfortable with the infrastructure of the internet, almost anything you could think of could now be commodified, with little to no entry fee. You didn't need any inventory, you didn't need an office, just some marketing skills paired with the right timing and the right information. And this is when entrepreneurship became a viable option for anyone who had the self-motivation and work ethic to sell digital products. In 2007, Tim Ferriss published what is still considered to be one of the greatest books ever written on digital entrepreneurship, The 4-Hour Workweek. And this completely revolutionized the way that people look at their relationship with time and money. What he proposed was what he called lifestyle design. Lifestyle design reimagined work as a means to enable your lifestyle instead of having it as an end in itself. He challenged the idea of traditional retirement models, instead arguing that one should take mini retirements throughout the course of your life, and promoted the idea of creating several different income streams on the internet that required minimal daily maintenance. By all means, it was the blueprint to becoming a digital nomad before the term digital nomad even existed, and it gave the aspiring young people exactly what they needed in order to live anywhere, escape the 9-to-5, and join the new rich. But what we did not have access to back in those days that could help you guys who are trying to create art and inspire people online through content is today's sponsor, Motion Array. So let's talk about AI. I've had a bit of a love-hate relationship with AI. On the one hand, I think it can lead to more misinformation when it's used for impersonation or other strange cases, but Motion Array's new AI voiceover tool is an incredible way to use AI to help people who aren't comfortable using their own voice start posting useful content on the internet. Usually with AI voiceover softwares, the voices sound really fake and it's obvious to tell that they're AI, which makes you want to instantly click off a video or audio content. But Motion Array has so much flexibility with how you can make the voice sound that you won't even be able to distinguish between a real and a fake voice. For example, maybe I want to have a woman who is calmly talking about my YouTube channel. I'll choose the fresh take voice, set the emotion to optimistic, and I get this.
Cole Hastings' YouTube channel provides a bit of whimsical charm that the ladies don't like to see at the function.
Yeah, I kind of do, don't I? Or maybe I want her to be super mad that my YouTube channel is really cool and sweet.
Cole Hastings' YouTube channel provides a bit of whimsical charm that the ladies don't like to see at the function.
Jeez, take it easy, okay? If you don't like my YouTube channel, that's on you. Motion Array also offers tons of professional video templates and graphics for your videos, so it's really just a one-stop shop for anything you'd need to start creating content. So if you want to start your own journey into the space of digital entrepreneurship, or you just want to upgrade your current content with AI, then you can click the first link in my description and sign up for Motion Array. After the 4-Hour Workweek took off, quickly rising to the New York Times bestseller list, what followed was a huge uptick in the creation of online personal brands. A personal brand is a phrase used to describe how you market yourself and what you want to be known for. It's basically the vibe of your social media accounts. The premise was simple. Create free content in the form of blog posts, email newsletters, YouTube videos, podcasts, tweets, and photos, grow a following on social media, then sell them your premium offer once you've gained their trust and proved that you can provide them value. Like many of you watching, social media was the medium through which I first got exposed to self-help. I began with a YouTuber named Ralph Smart, who combines self-improvement concepts with spirituality in a very calm, nature-esque setting. With all of his videos being done in one take, this guy definitely had a sort of aura about him. His calming voice and confident personality lured me in, and to be honest, it was the first time in my young adult life where I felt like I could be something in this world. And as a result, he became my guru. The influence of this one random guy on the internet inspired me to begin a bit of a spiritual journey myself, and although I never purchased anything directly from him, he did influence me to purchase a similar looking crystal pendant necklace from a different spiritual creator online. These videos instilled a new type of hope within me. I started consuming content from all different types of popular self-help creators during this time, like Improvement Pill and Fight Mediocrity. I read all the classic self-help books like Think and Go Rich and How to Win Friends and Influence People. And in May of 2017, as I was walking to one of my classes in college, I got the idea to start this YouTube channel. Being the naive 20-year-old that I was at the time, I began regurgitating all of the simple concepts that I was learning. How to be confident, how to reduce stress, how to meditate. I didn't really have a ton of experience with what I was talking about, but I thought if I can just help one person, then making these videos is worth it. Every day, new channels like mine were spawning on the internet of seemingly regular people posing themselves as experts in psychology, philosophy, and productivity who were eager to take advantage of this now booming industry. And so, the hustle obsession era was about to begin. From around 2010 to 2019, lifestyle porn really became a prominent theme amongst the most influential figures in the self-help space. Creators telling you to work 12 hours a day, showing off their luxury cars and private jets, morning routines, and selling the promise of getting stupidly rich through the internet was the norm. It was also a time where people really began exploiting positive thinking by selling expensive training programs that promised crazy results through pseudoscience. The Secret, written by Rhonda Burns, is probably the most popular book and documentary on the law of attraction. If you aren't familiar with the law of attraction, it's basically the idea that your thoughts are a certain frequency, and if you have more positive thoughts and act as if you already have what you want, the universe will give you what you desire with ease since you are on the right frequency to receive those things. This centuries-old secret has been understood by some of the most prominent people in history. Plato, Galileo, Beethoven, Edison, Carnegie, Einstein, along with other inventors, theologians, scientists, and great thinkers. Now, the secret is being revealed to the world. The ideas discussed within The Secret actually aren't too far off from the concepts within Think and Grow Rich, as a large part of that book was spent discussing how to manifest the life and money that you want. And to be honest, during my early days of YouTube, I was heavily invested into learning about the law of attraction too. But here's where the real problems of the self-help industry gurus get exposed. The manipulative, unverifiable claims that were marketed as the end-all be-all solution to every one of your problems. What the law of attraction really is simply just confirmation bias packaged with woo-woo words to make it seem like some magical discovery that you could only gain access to by buying the book. Confirmation bias is a psychological bias where we actively seek information that agrees with our pre-existing notions, beliefs, and opinions. So when you are practicing the law of attraction and you're repeating these positive affirmations in your head, all you're really doing is conditioning your brain to search for things in your environment that are related to positive experiences. In that way, you could say that the law of attraction works and is pretty harmless, but it becomes a problem due to the deceptiveness of the way it's presented, how these creators position themselves, and the paywall that this information can often be behind. This is what I like to call, if it's not working for you, you're doing it wrong language. Let's take a look at this clip from the creator of The Secret.
Okay, the law of attraction, which governs our mind, never makes a mistake. Ever. It's a law and it's infallible. Even though the person thought they felt that they knew they were going to get it, the law of attraction did not receive it in that way.
This is a common tactic for those trying to create a cult-like following. Using the right words, they will draw a distinct line between the ultimate believers and non-believers. It's us, the ones who know the power of the secret, versus them, the secret deniers. And through those words of certainty and confidence, the followers of this content begin to look up to the creators as their all-knowing gurus. The creators know this, and as a result, they know that they can charge outrageous prices for their courses and coaching, which is where the big money lies. When Russell Brunson wrote .com Secrets in 2015, a new blueprint was established for selling digital products online. You would set up something called a ClickFunnel. You create a piece of content or advertisement that builds trust and attention that directs the prospect to your funnel. You set up a landing page, which almost always follows the same structure of a title, offer, an intro video, and a button below to join. And if that wasn't enough to hook the prospect in, you could make this page very long, detailing more of the offers and value within the program until the prospect eventually decides to sign up. This became the standard for many online businesses, and it's still used till this day, including the landing page that I have on my own website. There's nothing inherently wrong with this model of selling, but again, it's who's selling it, what you're selling, and how much you're charging for it that determines whether it's a scam or not. While I wasn't able to find any direct offers like this on the official website of The Secret, its associates are using this tactic to sell their insanely priced courses and coaching. Bob Proctor, who is also a teacher on the Law of Attraction, has a funnel page set up for his course, Principles of Prosperity, where he claims to know the secret of the book Think and Grow Rich. Since 1937, over 20 million copies of Think and Grow Rich have been sold, and it's the #1 book most millionaires credit with their success. So why isn't it working for you yet? I've got the secret for you right on this page. The language here can best be described as predatory. It hits a direct market, people who haven't gotten rich yet after reading Think and Grow Rich. It takes them during a very low point, when they're in a desperate state to make money and stop struggling financially, and it sells them their dream without any doubts that it could possibly fail. Also, I'm not sure why he thought this was a selling point, but he also added, "This is not a theoretical analysis done by scientists or university professors. It's Bob's real-life 100% useful insights that you can go right now and use in any area of your life." Oh, so it's not anything that's scientifically verifiable. It's just an anecdote. Sign me up. Actually, after thinking about it, I do know why he added that. He added that because he is specifically trying to target a type of audience that would not try to verify whether something is scientifically accurate or not. So what's actually included in the program? 6 hours of 16 lessons on the book and a complimentary coaching session with one of Proctor's trained coaches after 30 days of purchasing the program for $1,995. A course that teaches you about a book you've already read for $2,000. How does one justify a price like that? Well, if Bob Proctor were watching this video, he would probably accredit his 57 years of experience to the justification of the price. That at least makes it somewhat understandable, although I can't imagine spending an entire college semester's tuition on a course about a book you've already read. However, this was just the beginning. What came after the initial course selling boom didn't even involve people with years of experience anymore. Things were about to get worse. A lot worse. 2020 was catastrophic for much of the world's mental health. As rates for depression and loneliness began skyrocketing, young people were looking for answers to their misery. To say it would be a good time to be a self-help YouTuber would be an understatement. I'd been posting on YouTube for 3 years now and had finally gotten monetized in May of 2020. Like most people during this time, I'd been going through some really big mental struggles and decided to do some very typical self-help trends, cold showers, journaling, and nofap, for 90 days. I made a video about it highlighting my experiences with it, and later that year, that video blew up, starting the snowball effect that led to my YouTube channel becoming my full-time job. Around the same time, many other self-help creators like myself were breaking into this breakout space. A whole new wave of teenagers, and specifically young teenage men, started getting into self-improvement. And this was a great thing. We had just been locked inside for months, and social media was being used as a force for good to inspire change, make progress, and find purpose in life. But still, there were those trying to take advantage of this new market influx, and one figure came into the scene at the perfect time. It's no secret now that young men are dealing with a sort of identity crisis in the modern world. With more single mothers and less strictly enforced gender roles, a lot of young guys are looking for that father figure they wish they had growing up. Unfortunately, due to the nature of social media, the ones that are the most polarizing and loud are the ones that usually get the most engagement. And Andrew Tate fit that description perfectly. His personality was like if you took all the deceptiveness of the lifestyle porn gurus, the manipulativeness of ultra spiritual cult leaders, and combined them with the most typical alpha bro stereotype. His takes vary from somewhat reasonable and almost helpful sometimes.
I think that a lot of people don't understand that it's all of the challenges and struggles that's going to make them, it's either going to make or break them.
To just plain ridiculous.
Yeah, girls shouldn't drive. Yeah, haram.
Yeah. So,
wait, what was that? It's haram for girls to drive.
Of course it is.
But what I want to focus on specifically is the movement that he inspired in the self-help space. Just like promoters of the law of attraction, Andrew knew he could create a cult-like following and make millions if he paired his ability to portray conviction and masculinity with his skills in marketing. It was exactly the type of content many young men were looking for. A guy who could pull them up by their bootstraps, promote traditional masculinity, and make them feel like men. Except this time, it would involve a strategy that would ensure his audience would never be able to think for themselves. First, he established an enemy. The Matrix, a reference to the 1999 film starring Keanu Reeves. Similar to the film, he explained the Matrix as the system that most people are born to and spend their whole lives in.
The Matrix is strong. The system which is designed to keep you as a slave is strong.
We go to school, get a degree, and get a 9-to-5 job without really ever questioning why this system exists in the first place. You are a victim of the Matrix, and he knows the secret to escaping. He called his program Hustlers University, an online school where you paid a monthly subscription to learn from experts in the fields of copywriting, freelancing, and crypto. So what did this really end up being? More of a paid Discord community that reels you into a multi-level marketing scheme than anything else.
I'm disappointed because I joined this month and have been going through the classes, which is basically all of the same boring topics all of these guys teach about making money. It's all the most surface level stuff. He assigns a so-called professor to each skill, and all of this takes place inside of Discord servers.
Tate's University encouraged users to repost his polarizing, engaging clips to different social media platforms and add a referral link for the university in the comments or bio of their profiles. They would then earn a commission for every person that signed up using their link and start making money. There's no doubt that many students have made thousands of dollars from this strategy, but in the end, it's always Tate who's going to be the winner. He would gain most of the profits of the people signing up due to the way this pyramid scheme is set up. And in fact, he still offers Hustlers University in a new upgraded package on one of his websites today. Many young people were starting to catch on to the effectiveness of this multi-level marketing tactic. As long as you had a phone, presented yourself as an expert, acted as if you had all the answers, preyed on people's deepest insecurities and desires, and used extreme triggering words, then no matter whether your information was accurate or useful, you could attract a raving fan base of young kids who don't know any better. Imagine that for the first time in your life as a young boy, you have a guy who is appealing to every modern problem you've struggled with, who speaks so quickly and with so much conviction that it doesn't even make you question whether what he is saying is true or not. It was just like my early parasocial relationship with Ralph Smart in college, except this time it transformed from people with at least a little bit of credentials to young guys with little to no real life experience. What happened in these years is what I like to call the teenage boy sitting in childhood bedroom acting like all-knowing gods about topics they don't fully understand to sell you something inflation era. So many young people, with the hope of replicating Tate's success, tried building their own cult-like followings, selling overpriced courses, copywriting, or social media agencies with no real results behind them. The online self-help space became littered with pseudoscience experts claiming them and only them were the ones that could save you from your misery and misfortune, and positioned themselves as gurus, gods, and cult leaders. For a while, a lot of people that were exposed to self-help during these years gave in to these trends. They became obsessed with binge-watching self-help and doing all the different methods and tactics like semen retention, journaling, cold showers, meditation, and starting their own online businesses. It was like a slot machine. With every new video you watched, you could finally discover the one thing that could end the negative chatter tormenting your mind and body. And by binge watching these videos, you could trick yourself into feeling like your life was changing by letting other people steal your attention for hours without you having actually applied anything they taught. After several years of this trend of self-help obsession and addiction in the form of masculine content, two types of groups formed. The ones who actually saw results and the ones whose lives stayed the same. That's the thing with self-help. It contains so much good information, even from the slimiest people in the industry, that can genuinely change your life for the better. But just because it works for you doesn't mean it's going to work for everyone. And that's especially true given how complex modern life now is and how many more diagnoses exist. The people that grew up watching the more polarizing creators that sold them a dream that they could likely never achieve started to become skeptical, and the ones that were told to just think positively to attract abundance were quickly realizing that toxic positivity is often worse than just letting your negative thoughts exist. Their tactics were starting to become exposed, and as a result, many different hit pieces on creators within this space started to make the entire niche of self-help seem like one big scam. This was all still very recent, and to be honest, it was very devastating to me, because I know how amazing self-help can be and how much fulfillment and joy it can bring into people's lives, so long as you aren't promoting a one-size-fits-all solution and saying this is the only way to do things, although I know that works for some people. But the ones who became carbon copy Tates selling false hopes and scams caused just about every self-help creator that blew up around the same time as me to be associated with the carbon copies, which slowly resulted in almost everybody's average views falling. The phrase self-help became synonymous with lying, course-selling scammer, and to many people, that's still the case. Now, if you really want to get the most views by directly mentioning self-help, your best bet is to make a video about why you should stop watching self-help videos or why self-improvement is ruining your life. But there is a new wave on the horizon. A wave of self-help that separates itself from the word entirely so that it doesn't even really resemble what we typically thought of self-help to be. I have seen a huge change in this space in 2024. It appears that the teenagers that grew up during the pandemic shoving self-help content down their throat have become the healthy skeptics I was always hoping they would be. And it's caused the market of self-help to adapt to this new demand. I explained it like this in a tweet back in May. Seems like there's been a shift in the self-improvement world recently. Young people are tired of the in-your-face, polarizing leaders who tell you that you must do as they say or you're weak. They're consuming less and creating more, only coming back to social media when they find something genuine or interesting enough to disrupt their creations. Although it might lead to less engagement for someone like me, it's what I've always hoped for. I'm optimistic that the future of self-improvement involves more nuanced, intentional creators who aren't afraid to admit when they're wrong, instead of trying to pump out endless content so their audience doesn't even have a chance to think for themselves. In other words, the idea of a self-help guru is kind of dead, and if you try to position yourself as that, you're probably going to receive heavy backlash from this community who are now wise enough to know that one random person on the internet doesn't have all the answers and should never be treated like a god who can't be questioned. So instead, authenticity and truth have become the norm. The creators who are now succeeding, presenting content related to helping oneself, although many of them probably don't even consider themselves as self-help creators, are simply just sharing stories of their lives and what they learn from them, whether that be through cinematic, beautiful edits or from the inside of their car on their phone. It's very much like the early years of the internet when bloggers were doing the same and they weren't shoving their products in your face every few minutes. My channel has evolved a lot over the years, and although I've reserved most of my self-help content for my second channel, since the self-help content I put out on this channel doesn't get as many views anymore, I couldn't be happier with this shift. I've been trying to instill these lessons into the whole industry for a while, and now it's finally become the standard. Here's what you need to understand. Maybe I haven't made it clear enough because I too have used my writing and marketing skills to make this industry seem more evil than good, but I think everyone should commit to lifelong learning by using self-help content in the form of podcasts, books, audiobooks, YouTube videos, and even courses to fuel that learning. It just needs to be balanced with real action and a healthy dose of skepticism. Before you give into the alluring nature of an influencer with a really confident outwardly appearance, question the validity of their statements. What is their background? What kind of credentials do they have to speak about what they're presenting as truth? And am I attracted by their knowledge or by their persuasiveness? By no means am I trying to say that people who have no credentials shouldn't be allowed to sell anything. If you think you have something genuinely valuable that could change people's lives, put it out there, and if the market deems it as valuable, the product itself, then it should be put out there for a reasonable price. And everybody's using marketing all the time. Even you, when you're trying to get a job or trying to attract a relationship or trying to be confident in a social setting. That's all marketing. What it really comes down to is this. Is this person trying to pose themselves as an unquestionable deity, an expert who really does have the background to be an expert, or a person who has gone through life experiences and learned a lot and might have some wisdom to share with you? If what they're saying sounds too good to be true, probably is. There's probably somewhere on the internet where you can find more information about something you're potentially thinking about buying. So do that research and make sure the value is worth the cost. Predatory people, like the ones I went over in this video, are probably always going to exist. There's always going to be people who are trying to take advantage of those who are in desperate situations and try to make a buck off them. So it's your responsibility as a consumer to protect yourself from these types of $1,000 courses and coaching programs that are genuine scams. And if you have a specific problem that requires the diagnosis of an expert, please try out therapy or go to a licensed psychologist or psychiatrist instead of some random person on the internet. There are loads of incredible social media creators with good intentions and sincerely valuable content that can change the trajectory of your life. Take what works for you and discard the rest. And with time, you will become your own guru. To all the day ones who started watching me way back in 2017, I appreciate you for being here. I appreciate if this is even your first video of you watching me. Thank you for watching till the end. If you want to check out more of my video essays on modern issues, you can check out the playlist right here. Go educate yourself and have fun. Have the balance. Goodbye.